Hey, look, YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. I apologise if you tuned into the live stream, which was just deleted because my dad decided that it would be a good idea to ring me when he was out shopping and knew that I was doing a video. And also apologise for not uploading on Friday because I got home at a very late hour. But this is about the last episode of A History of Your Club of this series, and last one for a little bit of time because I've got exams coming up, so there'll only be one video a week. I'm gonna have about 5 different videos coming up over this period of time, but I've got a little bit of time off basically. But you're here for the history of Wigan Athletic. Why am I rambling so much? I'll talk more about it at the end. So Wigan Athletic was formed in 1932, following the winding up of Wigan Borough the year before. Wigan Athletic was the 5th attempt to create a stable football club in the town, following the demise of Wigan County, Wigan United, Wigan Town and Wigan Borough. Springfield Park, the former home of Wigan Borough, was purchased by the club for £2,850. Despite their initial application being turned down, Wigan Athletic were elected into the Cheshire County League following a resignation of Manchester Central. The club had also made the first of many attempts to be admitted into the Football League, but received a failed. Well, they didn't receive a single vote, really. On the 27th of August 1932, Wigan Athletic played their first ever league game against Port Vale Reserves. The team played in red and white shirts with black shorts. Wigan Athletic won its first honours in the 1933-34 season, finishing top of the Cheshire League, despite being based in neighbouring Lancashire. In the following season, the club won a second league championship and also entered the FA Cup for the first time, where they defeated Carlisle United 6-1 in the first round. This was a cup record for the biggest victory by a non-league club over a league club. In 1935-36, the club won its third consecutive Cheshire League title and they also won the Lancashire Junior Cup. After the Second World War, Wigan Athletic adopted their present-day blue and white colours. The club struggled to assemble a competitive side and finished bottom of the league in the 1946-47 season. Despite their pre-war success, the club failed to gain re-election and was replaced by Winsford United. The club joined the Lancashire Combination, winning the league in their first season. In the 1950, Wigan Athletic came close to election in the Football League, narrowly losing out to Scunthorpe United and Shrewsbury Town. The club would frequently apply for election to the Football League over the next 28 years before finally being accepted. In the 1953-54 season, Wigan Athletic played an FA Cup match against Hereford United in front of a crowd of 27,526. This is a club record and also a record attendance for a match between two non-league teams at a non-league ground. In the next round of the FA Cup, the Wigan Athletic was drawn against First Division side Newcastle United. Wigan Athletic held their top-flight opponents to a 2-2 draw at St James's Park, but went on to lose the replay 3-2. In 1961, the club moved back to the Cheshire League. In the 1964-65 season, Wigan Athletic won its first Cheshire League title since returning to the league, with top goal scorer Harry Leon scoring 66 times. He remains the club's greatest goal scorer of all time. Wigan Athletic won 4 cup titles in the 1966-67 season, of the Lancashire Floodlit Cup winner being the Liverpool non-league Senior Cup winner, the Northern Floodlit League winner, the Northern Floodlit League Cup winner, and was also the Cheshire County League runners-up. In 1968, Wigan Athletic was a founder member of the Northern Premier League, and in winning the league title in 1970-71, the leading goal scorer with 42 goals, including 7 hat-tricks, was Jeff Davis. who scored 28 goals in the following 1971-72 season. The team played at Wembley Stadium for the first time in the 1973 FA Trophy final, where they lost 2-1 to Scarborough. After 34 failed election attempts, including one controversial but headline-making application in 1972 to join the Scottish League Second Division, Wigan Athletic was elected to the Football League in 1978. Wigan Athletic finished in second place in the Northern Premier League in the 1977-78 season, behind winners Boston United. But as Boston's ground and facilities did not meet the Football League criteria for a league club, whereas Springfield Park did, Wigan Athletic were put forward for election to the league. There was no automatic promotion to the Football League until 1987, you see. And at that time, a club had to be voted out of the league to allow a non-league team to be promoted in their place. At the end of the 1977-78 season, Southport finished next to the bottom of the old 4th Division and faced near neighbours Wigan Athletic for their place in the league. The first round of voting was tied, with both clubs receiving 26 votes, and after a tense revote, which Wigan won 29-20, Southport lost their place in the 4th Division, and Wigan Athletic became an English League club on the 2nd June 1978. In the club's first season of league football, Wigan Athletic finished in 6th place, just 6 points off promotion, and playing in front of an average crowd of 6,701. Two more top half finishes came in the following seasons, though a relatively weak 1980-81 season saw the dismissal of long-serving manager Ian McNeil shortly before the end of the season. They gained their first Football League promotion under the management of former Liverpool player Larry Lloyd in 1981-82, when a points tally of 91 saw them join the former Division 3 for the first time, beginning a 10-year spell in the English football's third tier. The club struggled in their first season in Division 3, which led to Lloyd sacking in early 1983, at which point Bobby Charlton, a director at the time, took over as temporary manager before being replaced by Harry McNally. Under McNally's management, the club stabilised in Division 3 and secured a pair of mid-table finishes. But a dreadful 1984-85 season cost him his job, with Tranmere manager Brian Hamilton stepping into the breach. Under Hamilton's management, the club's performances went to the next level. They won their first silverware as a league club that season with the Fright Rover Trophy. They were beaten in the Northern Final of the same competition the following season by Bolton Wanderers. More importantly, Hamilton achieved Division 3 survival, which had looked an impossible task earlier that season. The 1985-86 season saw a marked improvement in the club's league form, eventually finishing in 4th position, a then club record high, which would stand for 17 years until 2002-03. Wigan Athletic finished the season just 1 point outside the promotion places in the final season before the Football League introduced the playoff system for promotion and relegation. However, Hamilton's feats attracted attention of the First Division side Leicester City, and he left to become their manager in the summer of 1986. His assistant Ray Mathias, who had followed him from Tranmere, stepped up to the Wigan Athletics manager's role, and Wigan Athletic managed an identical 4th place finish in the 1986-87 season. But this time were awarded with a chance to compete for the final promotion place in the new playoff system. In the first 2 years of the playoff system, you see, teams finishing 3rd, 4th, and 5th joined the team in 20th of the division above to have a playoff for the promotion place. This was changed to teams finishing 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th from the 1988-89 season. The Latics lost the 2-leg semi-final stage to Swindon, who went on to win the final promotion place. The 4th place finishes of the 1985-86 and 1986-87 seasons proved to be the high points of Wigan Athletic's first stint in Division 3. For the next 5 years, they finished in mid-table and flirted with relegation in 1988-89 and 1989-90. During the former of these, Mathias was sacked and the previous manager Brian Hamilton returned. until they were actually relegated for the first time in the club's league history in 1992-93. Wigan Athletic finished in 23rd place amidst humbling attendances, which had fallen from averages of 3,000 to 4,000 in Wigan Athletic's Division 3 years to just 2,593 in 1992-93. Hamilton resigned shortly before the club were relegated and was replaced by Kenny Swain. A year later, with the club back in the fourth tier of the English League, the Latics finished fourth from bottom in 19th place. While there was no relegation that season due to the lack of promotable club in the Football Conference, this remains the club's lowest ever finish. The following season would prove to be arguably even worse, as Swain was sacked early in the campaign following a horrific start, and former player Graham Barrow took over as manager. Despite the club being rooted to the bottom of the table until the start of December, the second half of the campaign saw a major upturn in form, and they finished well clear of the relegation zone in 15th place. Attendances fell to the lowest ever of Wigan Athletic's league average of 1,845 by 1995. In February 1995, local millionaire and owner of JJB Sports, Dave Whelan, purchased the club. Through Whelan's business connections in Spain, he attracted 3 Spaniards to the club: Roberto Martinez, who is the famous one, current manager of Belgium, Isidro Diaz, and Jesus Seba, who became known as the Three Amigos. Nothing to do with the Derby County ones, thankfully. The trio became the on-pitch symbols of Whelan's ambitious plans to take Wigan Athletic into the Premier League. The Three Amigos were joined at the club by John Deehan, who replaced Barrow as manager during the 1995-96 season, following a 6-2 home defeat to Mansfield Town. Deehan took the Latics within 2 points of a playoff place in his first season. The club had in fact been in the final automatic promotion spot with 4 games remaining, but lost them all, and so failed to even make the playoffs. The following year, Wigan Athletic became Division 3 champions on the last day of the season, with Graham Jones scoring a club record of 31 league goals in the process. In most seasons, they would have been runners-up, but a temporary rule change, which saw goals scored taking precedence over goal difference, allowed them to finish above runners-up Fulham, who had the same number of points and a better goal difference. Following a mid-table finish in Division 2 the following season, Dean quit to become Steve Bruce's assistant at Sheffield United. He was succeeded by Ray Mathias, who returned for his 3rd stint as Wigan Athletic manager. Mathias's team won the Football League trophy in 1999, beating Millwall 1-0 at Wembley Stadium. The same season, the Latics reached the Division 2 playoffs, losing 2-1 on aggregate to Manchester City. Mathias was sacked and replaced by John Benson. He led the team to the top of Division 2 in his first 6 months, but they were only able to qualify for the playoffs. In what was the last ever Division 2 player final to be played at the old Wembley Stadium, Wigan lost 3-2 after extra time to Gillingham. Benson moved upstairs to the new post of Director of Football in the summer of 2000, when former Arsenal manager Bruce Rioch took over as the manager for the 2000-2001 season. Rioch was hampered with severe injury problems and, after a difficult and often unimpressive first half of the season, left the club in February 2001. He was temporarily replaced by club stalwart Colin Greenall before the surprise appointment of Steve Bruce for the final 8 games of the season. His arrival brought renewed vigour to Wigan Athletic's performances, but the club ultimately lost in the playoffs again, this time against Reading, and Bruce left for Crystal Palace. In the summer of 2001, the former Latics forward Paul Jewell took over as manager following an unsuccessful spell at Sheffield Wednesday. His first season in charge saw mixed results and an embarrassing defeat to non-league Canvey Island in the FA Cup first round. Although the club eventually finished in mid-table, Jules' second season in charge was far more successful. Wigan Athletic went on a run to the quarter-finals of the League Cup, beating Premier League opponents West Brom, Manchester City and Fulham en route. Wigan Athletic won the Division 2 Championship in 2002-03 with a points total of 100. Powered by the goals of their then record £1.2 million signing of Nathan Ellington, with a run of 10 consecutive wins along the way. But the club also only lost 4 times all season, and Wigan Athletic secured promotion to the second tier of the English Football League for the first time in their history. After losing their first ever game in Division 1, Wigan Athletic confounded expectations to go unbeaten for the next 17 games and sit atop of the division by November 2003. A weak finish saw Wigan Athletic win only 3 of their last 10 games, though, to finish 7th in Division 1. A last-minute goal by West Ham's Brian Deane in the final game of the season saw the Latics drop out of the playoff places in favour of eventual playoff winners Crystal Palace. Hoping to build on the previous season's disappointing finish, the Latics went one better than 2003-04 by remaining unbeaten for the first 17 games of the 2004-05 season, along with Sunderland and Ipswich. The Latics remained in the promotion hunt all season, and by the last day of the season, Sunderland had already won the title, and Wigan needed at least a draw against Reading, who themselves needed a win to finish in 6th place, to beat Ipswich to the last automatic promotion spot. A 3-1 victory in front of their home fans at the JJB Stadium earned Wigan Athletic promotion to the top division of English football for the first time in their 73-year history. The club's first ever Premier League game was a sellout at the JJB Stadium against holders Chelsea. A 1-0 defeat after injury time winner by Hernan Crespo, but a successful run followed, and by November, Wigan was second in the league. Good league form was coupled with an equally strong performance in the Football League Cup, with Wigan reaching their first ever major cup final after defeating Arsenal on away goals in the semi-final. In the final, Wigan were defeated 4-0 by neighbours Manchester United. Wigan Athletic eventually finished the season on 10th place, which remains the club's highest ever league placing. Defender Pascal Chimbonda was also included in the 2005-06 PFA Team of the Season, capping off his season by being picked for the France squad for the 2006 FIFA World Cup. During the close season, Wigan sold many players who had starred in their first season of the Premier League, such as Jimmy Bullard, Jason Roberts, and Stefan Henshaw, while bringing in replacements including Emil Heskey, Denny Lanzart, Chris Kirkland, and Antonio Valencia. After a mid-table start to the 2006-07 season, Wigan had 8 consecutive losses from mid-December, but was 15th in early March. On the final day of the season, Wigan got a 2-1 away win against Sheffield United, who kept them up at the expense of their opponents. The following day, Paul Jewell unexpectedly resigned as manager. His assistant Chris Hutchings was appointed as his replacement. Wigan's third Premier League campaign saw changes in the squad again, with Titus Bramble, Mario Melchiot, Jason Kumas, and Marcus Bent among the players brought in, and Melchiot was installed as the new club captain. The 2007-08 season began well for Wigan, with Emil Heskey recalled to the England squad as the first Wigan player to represent England whilst a full member of the club. However, he broke his foot immediately after his England call-up and was out injured for 6 weeks. The club's league position subsequently worsened, and on the back of a run of 6 consecutive defeats, Wigan fell into the relegation zone. Wigan took the decision to sack Hutchings on the 5th of November 2007, after 12 games in charge, reinstating Bruce, who saved the club from relegation. In the summer of 2008, Bruce signed Lee Catamol from Middlesbrough for £3.5 million, and Egyptian striker Amr Zaki sign on an initial one-year loan. Zaki had scored 10 Premier League goals by February 2009 as Wigan reached 7th place in the table with 34 points from 25 games. January saw the departure of two key first team members, Wilson Palacios and Emil Heskey, to Tottenham and Aston Villa respectively. Despite these changes, Wigan finished the season in 11th place with 45 points, their second best ever in the Premier League. On the 3rd of June, Bruce left Wigan for the second time to take over the vacant position as manager of Sunderland. July saw the departure of another key first team member, Antonio Valencia, to Manchester United. Before the 2009-10 season got underway, Catamol had left for Sunderland. Wigan appointed Roberto Martinez, then manager Swansea City, as manager prior to the 2009-10 Premier League season. He previously played for Wigan from 1995 to 2001. On the 26th of September, they claimed their first 3 points against the Big Four team after beating Chelsea 3-1, with goals from Titus Bramble, Hugo Rodallega and Paul Scharner. A late surge that included a 1-0 win over Liverpool and a 3-2 win over Arsenal, the latter of which saw Wigan recover from 2 goals down with 10 minutes remaining to win in injury time. And this saw the team once more survive relegation, most notably having never defeated any of the traditional Big Four in the league until their win over Chelsea, and with only 1 win over them any event in cup competitions. Wigan ended the season having been defeated only 3 times at home. Despite this, the season also saw 2 humiliating 8-goal defeats. Firstly, a 9-1 thrashing at Tottenham in November, and finally an 8-0 defeat to Chelsea on the final day of the season. A match which saw opponents crowned as Premier League champions. In the 2010-11 season, Wigan fell to the bottom of the league by the end of February, following a 4-0 defeat to Manchester United. However, despite remaining in the bottom 3 for the majority of the season, they managed to retain their Premier League status on the last day of the season, defeating Stoke City at the Britannia Stadium after a goal from Hugo Rodallega. On the 7th of May 2012, they simultaneously secured their Premier League status and relegated Blackburn Rovers with a 1-0 victory at Ewood Park. In 2013, after beating Everton in the quarter-final and Millwall in the semi-final, Wigan reached the FA Cup final for the first time in their history. In the final, played at Wembley Stadium, Wigan beat Manchester City 1-0, with a goal by Ben Watson scored in injury time. Wigan's first ever major trophy also gave the club a place in the group stage of the Europa League. Following their 4-1 defeat to Arsenal 3 days later, Wigan Athletic ended their 8-year spell in the Premier League and became the first team to be relegated and win the FA Cup in the same season. On the 5th of June, it was announced that Martinez had left Wigan and had signed for Everton on a 4-year deal. Owen Coyle became the new manager of Wigan Athletic when Martinez left for Everton, and the team lost to Manchester United in the Community Shield. Coyle left by mutual agreement on the 2nd of December 2013 after a poor start to the season, and was replaced by Uwe Rosler on the 12th of December in his first match. Wigan were eliminated from the Europa League group stage after a defeat to Maribor. On the 9th of March 2014, Wigan beat Manchester City in the 6th round of the FA Cup to reach the semi-final at Wembley for the second successive year, where they played Arsenal and lost 4-2 on penalties after a normal time and extra time resulted in a 1 draw. After finishing 5th in the Championship, Wigan lost their playoff semi-final to Queen's Park Rangers. Rosler was sacked in November 2014 with the club in the relegation places, and was replaced by Malky Mackay. Whelan resigned as chairman on the 3rd of March 2015, remaining as owner but handing over the chairmanship to his grandson David Sharp. The following month, with Wigan in danger of relegation to League One, Mackay was sacked and replaced by former Wigan captain Gary Caldwell. Yet the team ended the season with relegation. The squad changed drastically, including the signings of Will Grigg from Brentford and Reece James from Manchester United. That is not. That's one who currently plays for Blackpool, not one who plays for Chelsea, in case there's any confusion there. The side lost only once in 23 matches in the second half of the season and won the division, with Grigg the league's top scorer with 25 goals. In October 2016, following a poor start to the season, Caldwell was sacked as manager and replaced by Manchester United coach Warren Joyce. Results did not improve under Joyce, who was sacked in March 2017, and Wigan was subsequently relegated back to League One in April, and interim manager Graham Barrow left, ending a 15-year association with the club. Paul Cook, who had just won League Two with Portsmouth, was appointed Wigan manager in June 2017. Wigan competed in the 2017-18 season of League One, in which they finished first, not third. It's almost like a Scottish thing, isn't it? Resulting in promotion back to the Championship. Their promotion was sealed by a 4-0 win against Fleetwood Town. And in the 2017-18 season of the FA Cup, Wigan reached the quarter-finals, where they were knocked out by Southampton in a 2-0 loss. Notably, Wigan had beaten Manchester City in the fifth round proper at home, winning 1-0 due to Will Grigg scoring at the 79th minute. At the end of the season, it was announced that the Whelan family had agreed to sell the club, stadium and training facilities to Hong Kong-based International Entertainment Corporation in a £22 million deal. On the 2nd of November 2018, IEC received shareholder approval to complete the acquisition of a football club, bringing to an end the 23 years of the Whelan family ownership. In a letter to the fans, Chairman David Sharp confirmed that he, along with Matthew Sharp and non-executive director Gary Cook, would resign from the board upon completion of the ownership transition. In the 2018-19 season, Wigan finished 18th in the Championship with 52 points, well clear of the relegation zone. Well, this story I have to tell, but it's a very sad one and very dubious situations. On the 4th of June 2020, IEC sold the majority of Wigan Athletic's shareholdings to Hong Kong-based Next Leader Fund. The sale was formally ratified and approved by the shareholders of IEC, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and the EFL. On the 1st of July 2020, the club standing in 14th in the Championship, 8 points clear of relegation, in a season delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, announced it had gone into administration as Next Leader Fund had refused to invest promised money. Paul Stanley, Gerald Krasner and Dean Watson from Begbie's trainer were appointed as joint administrators. The insolvency left Wigan facing a 12-point deduction. The sanction would be applied at the end of the 2019-20 season if the club finished outside the bottom three after 46 games. On the 2nd of July 2020, the administrators said they would investigate how the club ended up in administration less than a month after it changed owners. A private conversation about Wigan's situation involving EFL chairman Rick Parry was secretly filmed amid talk of betting on Wigan being relegated, described by some as the greatest sporting scandal of modern times. Wigan MP Lisa Nandy and Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham wrote a joint letter to Parry calling for an investigation into the club's takeover. Players had not been paid and there was talk of club staff being made redundant and of players being offered for sale. They said Wigan's supporters, well, that was by them, when Wigan Supporters Club also called for an investigation and for financial support from the EFL. Supporters, backed by Nandy, later launched an online petition to try to trigger a parliamentary debate around the EFL's owners and directors test. On the 4th of July, Wigan, previously unbeaten in 9 games, lost 3-0 to Brentford. 3 days later, on the 7th of July, around half of the club's non-playing staff of 75 were made redundant by the administrators. And Wigan Warriors expressed interest in buying the football club, a move later supported by Wigan Council. On the 10th of July, midfielder Jensen Weir was set to be sold to Brighton and Hove Albion for £500,000 plus add-ons to help alleviate Wigan's financial problems. England's under-16s international midfielder Alfie Devine was later sold to Tottenham, and bids were due by 21st of July. On the 22nd of July, the final the day of the final game of the season, Krasner said administrators had received 5 offers and identified an unnamed preferred bidder. They were seeking completion of the sale by the 31st of July. However, on the 24th of July, with the preferred bidder, the talks had broken down, and administrators began negotiations with other parties, which continued into early August. Meanwhile, on the 7th of July 2020, the club had appealed against the 12-point deduction imposed by the EFL for entering administration. On the 14th of July, Wigan recorded their biggest league victory, beating Hull City 8-0. This, combined with other results, meant Wigan would not finish in relegation places, so the 12-point deduction would be applied at the end of the current season. Wigan's appeal against the point deduction, which was heard on the 31st of July, and it's not the current season, is it? No, it was last season, were set to cost the club between £400,000 and £500,000. Wigan drew 1-1 against Fulham in their final day of the season, and the 12-point deduction pushed Wigan into the bottom 3, meaning the club would play in League One if its appeal was unsuccessful. On the 4th of August, the club's relegation was confirmed, and following the resignation of manager Paul Cook, Liam Richardson was appointed caretaker manager. On the 17th of August 2020, it was reported that Au Young YK, the club's owner, had on the 23rd of June asked Begbie's trainer about putting it into administration before completing his takeover. Begbie's trainer disputed the account produced by an independent commission, saying administration was one of the several scenarios discussed. The commission said Kay was not open with the Wigan officials about his conversation with Begbie's trainer, and subsequently gave either false or knowingly misleading assurances about future funding. The administrator was still attempting to find a buyer, and if no agreement was reached by the 31st of August, Begbie's trainer said it would have to consider whether the club can be funded into the 2020-21 season, due to start on the Saturday, the 12th of September 2020. On the 20th of August, Kay reported to be waiving a £36 million debt owed to him by the club in an effort to expedite its sale. Wigan supporters began a fundraising effort. Initially, £500,000 was raised to help secure the club's future, and then raising £200,000 more. Administrators had been confident the sale would be agreed by their deadline, but later revised their opinion. On the 9th of September 2020, with the club's situation set to be discussed at an EFL meeting, the administrators were reportedly quietly optimistic about Wigan being allowed to start the EFL season, despite being ownerless. They appointed John Sheridan as the club's new manager, who was in charge as Wigan lost their first league game of the season 2-0 at Ipswich Town. On the 21st of September, the administrators reported that bids would need to top £3 million to secure the sale, as the club had a considerable liability to HM Revenue and Customs, owed wages to players, and also had to pay for August's unsuccessful appeal against the points deduction. On the 30th of September, the administrators said they had reached an agreement with an unnamed bidder from Spain to purchase the club, and were working on paperwork to gain EFL approval. In early November, former Wigan manager Roberto Martinez was reported to be assisting with the Spanish bid. On the 13th of November, after 3 wins in 15 Wigan games, manager Sheridan left to become Swindon Town's new manager. On the 20th of November, additional time was granted to the prospective new owners to complete their purchase, and in early December, with the club bottom of League One, it emerged that a member of the Spanish consortium had a disqualifying condition. So Wigan's administrators had to make a fresh application to the EFL on behalf of Felipe Moreno, owner of the Spanish La Liga 2 or La Liga Dos side Leganes. However, on the 5th of January 2021, the Moreno takeover bid fell through. Administrators began talking again to other parties or bidders, with on the 15th of January 11 parties said to be interested in buying the club. By early March 2021, the administrators were in advanced talks with a consortium, Phoenix 2021 Limited, led by a Bahrain businessman, Talal Mubarak Al-Hamad, and the takeover was agreed on the 15th of March, subject to EFL approval and finalisation of paperwork. Under the proposed deal, Al-Hamad would become chairman, and Mal Brannigan, previously involved with Dundalk and Dundee United, would be chief executive. EFL approval for the takeover was confirmed on the 30th of March 2021. In May, the former administrators repaid £171,000 raised by the supporters to keep the club going when it first entered into administration. The club finished the 2020-21 season in 20th position, 1 point above relegation places. And obviously now, since then, they have been very successful, it looks very likely to be winning the league. I think there is actually a technicality that they may not necessarily, but I think they have been confirmed as automatic. Let me know if that is true in the comments down below. So, as I said, much less videos going to be uploaded. I'm going to be doing the best academy products of the Premier League team of all time on Friday. And I'll also be doing a lot less coming up. But goodbye for now.